Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel. Today I am going to be spilling the financial tea and sharing with you guys our plans for moving forward. Most importantly, our plans post paying off my husband's student loans. I just want to talk to you guys about the meeting with our financial advisor, saving, investing, emergency fund, loan forgiveness, student loan forgiveness. I want to talk to you guys about it all. So if you're interested in hearing about any of that, then please keep watching. Okay, so if you're super new here, then you should probably know that my husband and I were wed almost 4 years ago, and about 6 months into our marriage is when we finally were able to settle down and combine our finances. Now, combining finances isn't for every couple or every marriage. However, that's the way that we operate. Honestly, it didn't take rocket science for us to learn really quickly the force that we could be if we were to work together to achieve our financial goals. I will tell you that coming into our marriage, one of the goals that my husband just had for himself and his finances, no matter, who he married, was to own a home. Proud to say that we did meet his goal. We did build and buy our first house last year. And one of my main goals, especially given my upbringing, was to be in a place where I didn't have to worry about getting my basic needs met. So paying bills, buying food, any of that. I can say that I did a fairly good job of that, obviously, when I was single, but also I can say that the security that I have been able to achieve alongside my husband has far surpassed any type of security that I achieved independently when I was single. Today we have paid off over $50,000 of debt, to include my car loan and student loans. Not my student loans, my husband's student loans. And that's pretty much like where the bulk of that money has gone. Obviously, we have built and purchased a house. And most importantly, or the thing that I feel like is the coolest, is we have been able to cash flow or pay cash for all of our purchases since we have been on this financial journey. So I'm really proud of us and proud of where we're heading next. Our main goal together, like our main marriage goal, or the goal that we both have that aligns perfectly, is to retire early. And so in this video, I'm going to be sharing with you guys the steps that we are going to be taking, particularly like the next steps, the steps that we're going to take like now to achieve the goal of retiring in like 20 years at the latest. I do want to share with you guys the steps that we have recently been taking, or that we've been taking, before the meeting with our financial advisor. Obviously, we have eliminated a whole bunch of debt, like the vast majority of our debt. Also, we have been investing, not as much as we need to, in those traditional retirement accounts such as 401ks. And recently we have been investing using the Robinhood app. Robinhood is actually sponsoring this portion of today's video, and I just want to share with you guys what we have been up to, as well as what Robinhood is. I will say that Robinhood is pretty popular right now. With Robinhood, you can invest in stocks, options, and ETFs right from the comfort of your cell phone. You can even spend and earn interest on uninvested cash. A couple of reasons to invest is so that you can take advantage of compound interest versus simple interest, and the inflation rate versus checking or savings interest rates. I feel like this is one of the reasons that has kickstarted or catapulted our longing or needing to start investing more of our money. So stocks are split across different sectors for which they actually make revenue. And as you can see, the tech, media, and telecom sector is leading the way for us. I will say that dibbling and dabbling in investing using Robinhood has been pretty eye-opening and pretty interesting. Like I said, this is also one of the reasons that we decided to really get serious about investing. So our hope is that we will start investing more and more and more, especially using the Robinhood app, but also in some other ways which we are about to get to momentarily. If you want to learn more about Robinhood, I will have links in the description. Definitely take advantage of my little referral link situation that I will have down in the description box and probably in the comment section. I hope that you will join us on this journey to investing. Again, another quick shout out to Robinhood for collaborating with me on today's video, but I do want to share with you guys some more ways that we plan to invest. So a couple of weeks ago, we talked to a couple financial advisors, and one we really liked, so we went ahead and had a full-blown conversation with him. Before we met with him over Zoom, so a virtual meeting, of course, we sent him pretty much like an outline. It was a sheet that they had emailed to us that they wanted back before we met, and it was essentially like an outline of how much money we have now, how much debt we have now, just our overall financial picture now, and also our goals. Again, one of our major goals, if not the only real big financial goal that we have in life, is to retire early. And in our meeting, he actually walked us through like how, well, first of all, he confirmed that it was attainable for us to retire in like 20 years, but he also showed us what that would look like for positive years, for negative years, you know, just what it actually looks like. And he also talked about the trends and all of that. He has been a financial advisor for some time, and the company has been around for over 30 years. So a pretty trustworthy company. The guy that we spoke to, the financial advisor that we spoke to, does happen to be a fiduciary financial advisor. I may or may not have butchered that word, but essentially that just means that he is obligated essentially to work for the best interests of the clients. And so, you know, I am, you know, no dummy. So whenever we went into the meeting, we pretty much knew like what we were looking for this person to do and say. And, you know, he definitely hit the nail on the head throughout the whole conversation. So 9 times out of 10, unless another financial advisor falls from the sky, this is going to be the company and financial advisor that we are going to choose to go with. Now, what he talked about is, what we learned is that because we want to retire early, and if you want to start withdrawing money from those traditional retirement accounts like 401ks and Roth IRAs, oftentimes there is a penalty if you try to withdraw the money early. So really the earliest that you can start withdrawing is 59.5, which isn't going to work for us, because just speaking for me, if I do retire in 20 years, I'll be in my 40s. So 59.5, almost 60, definitely isn't going to work. Now, this does not mean that we're not going to be investing in those traditional retirement accounts, because we definitely are. However, we are going to have to invest our money in other ways as well, particularly in ways where we can get our money whenever we want to. And so one of those ways is, one of those additional accounts is going to be a brokerage account or mini brokerage accounts. That way we can get our money whenever we want to get our money, and we don't have to wait until we're 50 or whatever the case is. We can get our money in 3 years if we want to, or 5 years if we want to. So that is one of the main things that we learned in our meeting. And so what we plan to do moving forward is, the first thing that we want to do, well, not necessarily the first thing, but one of the main things that we want to do before we begin this journey, which our goal is to hit the ground running in January 2021, is to, of course, go ahead and pay off my husband's student loans. We don't exactly have the money at the filming of this video, but we're really close. We need $12,000, almost $13,000 more to be able to pay off my husband's student loans. And we have been saving up that money over the last few months. So we'll be locked and loaded and ready to pull the trigger. But we just haven't really been in a real rush, because his student loans, as well as mine, are in a virus forbearance, and they are not accruing interest, and payments aren't due. So we haven't really been in a real rush, but that's one of the things that we for sure want to do. We also want to top off our emergency fund. Honestly, I feel like, you know, a lot of people recommend 3 to 6 months or whatever the case is, and I would say that I would recommend about 3 to 6 months as well. So because a lot of our money, the vast majority of it, we plan to have invested or, you know, tied up in those brokerage accounts, we won't have a real strong need to have like this huge hefty savings account like we once did. So those are really pretty much the main things that we want to do, is pay off my husband's student loans before the end of the year, or before we hit the ground running with investing, and also topping off our emergency fund at a place where we feel comfortable. In 2021, we do want to start investing. So our minimum each month, we hope, is about $3,000. That was just a goal that we had at minimum before even talking to the advisor, but we did learn that if we go through the company, we will have to invest about $24,000 a year, which shakes out to be about $2,000 a month. So it kind of all works out. Again, our hope is to invest literally all of our excess coins. The only money that we want to keep is the money that we use to pay bills each month, the money that we use to pay for our living expenses like food, groceries. And one of our main goals is to be able to have a decent amount that we can play with each month. And so that would be what we would spend for like any trips or any like random spending that we do, or saving for a car, that kind of thing. As you guys know, since we've been married, we have had anywhere, I mean, the minimum has been about $3,000 additional each month, and we have been putting that towards debt or putting it towards savings or the house or what have you. Some months we have way more than that we can, you know, do things with. So again, our goal is to be able to invest at least $2,000 a month. Honestly, isn't going to have us retiring early, so our goal is to do more than $2,000, but that's going to be the minimum for sure as we embark on this journey. So you might be wondering what our plan is going to be for my student loans, and I am here to share with you guys that paying off my student loans has never really been a part of the plan, because my loans are eligible for the public service loan forgiveness. However, I do have a few more years to go. I'm not a public service loan forgiveness expert. All I know is that the federal program was rolled out, I believe, in October of 2007, and essentially the premise was that, the hope was that professionals would choose to work in more rural or urban areas as opposed to like a private sector. And so the hope was that, you know, it would entice people, the possibility of having their loans forgiven would entice people to essentially work in those areas and earn what is inevitably going to be less money than their private sector counterparts. Now, you do have to make 120 qualifying payments, and there's a lot of information that you need to be mindful of when it comes to what a qualifying payment is. A lot of people just are out here winging it without knowing exactly if their payments are qualifying or if their company qualifies. As for me, I check on this every year. Every year I resubmit information, and I talk to a representative over the phone just to hear like where my loans are. Like I mentioned, I'm pretty close. Even the job that I have now, I have been working at this company for literally 5 years, and this doesn't account for the other years that I have been working at other qualifying companies. Now, the only reason why it really makes sense for us, or that we're willing to take this risk, is because we are going to be putting so much money into those brokerage accounts. And let's say my student loans aren't forgiven, which honestly wouldn't be the worst thing that's ever happened. If that were the case, we would just take the money from our brokerage account and pay off my student loans. Either they're going to be forgiven by the federal government as they promised, or I'm going to pay them off myself. No big deal. Now, I will have to continue making my minimum payment. Of course, these payments are going to be counting towards the loan forgiveness, so it's not like I can stop making my minimum payments, but that's not that big of a deal because I have been making minimum payments for years now. So that is pretty much what life is going to be like for us moving forward. I just wanted to answer that question because I do get a lot of questions about some of the things that I just talked about, so I just wanted to put it all out there. I believe that I touched on everything that I intended to touch on today. Like I said, as a recap, pay off my husband's student loans, top off our emergency fund, continue making my minimum payments, and start investing in brokerage accounts, and also starting to invest in Roth IRA. So that's it for this video. Links to anything and everything will be down in the description box and probably in the comments section as well. Be sure to check out Robinhood, and also check out the implications of the public service loan forgiveness program so that you can learn about it if you don't know what it is or what it's about. I hope that you guys enjoyed this video, and I will see you in my next one. Bye guys.